voice and tone. The narrator's internal monologue is sharp, measured, and laced with just enough restraint to make the payoff deeply satisfying. It never veers into melodrama. Pacing. From the discovery of the envelope to the yacht scene, it unfolds like a rising tide, quiet at first, then unstoppable. Details. Small flourishes, pregnant with the kind of tension we'd stopped naming, or heels clacking like applause, elevate the prose and help paint these characters vividly without bogging the story down. Themes. You're exploring legacy, visibility, power, and the weaponization of optics with sophistication. Suggestions for refinement. Trim repetition. A few phrases, like variations on not being seen or dismissed by the family, are repeated in close succession. Consider streamlining for maximum impact. Zara's complexity. She walks a tightrope between ally and enabler. A line or two giving her more emotional texture, maybe a moment where she nearly says something real, could add dimension. Titan. The end. The climax lands. But you could add a slightly sharper emotional or philosophical beat just after the captain's salute. Something that underlines not just victory, but transformation. Revenge arc, but not the shallow kind. This is earned, layered, and resonant. The central character's transformation from someone underestimated and discarded to a visionary leader is palpable, and the shift in power dynamics is executed with surgical precision. You've created a moment that feels like justice, but more importantly, like clarity. Some highlights that make this work so well. Tone and voice. The calm confidence of the narrator, especially in contrast to the frantic confusion of the old guard, is incredibly effective. It shows not only control, but growth. Symbolism and imagery. The gangway as both literal and metaphorical transition. The yacht as a symbol of exclusion, transformed into a vessel for invention. The laminated manifest. Simple yet final. Characterization. Zara, Bernard, Marielle, and Trevor are all recognizable types, affluent, self-assured, and shallow in their understanding of power. But you give them enough nuance to make their downfall feel real, not cartoonish. Themes. Reclamation, self-worth, legacy versus invention, the cost of exclusion, and the quiet dignity of those who build from the margins. This isn't just a takedown. It's a redefinition of what success and ownership look like. If you're looking for next steps, publish-ready formatting. Consider shaping this into a short story or the climactic chapter of a longer novel. The arc is there, but you could expand context, how the main character built their empire, how the betrayal with Zara unfolded, what Invariant Core is, to deepen the impact. Title idea. Something like The Manifest, Sovereign, or the guest list might capture the layered meaning. Literary polish. It's raw in a good way, but you might refine transitions or clean up timestamps to match a final form. Unless you intend for those to mark scene changes, they do add an almost script-like pace. 2707. The deck when tugging at the lapels of my jacket, this wasn't revenge, this was wreck. They were quiet. Not just awkward quiet, but shifted, unsettled, the way people get when the old rules stop working. Zara looked down at her folded napkin. Bernard tapped his fingers against the glass, rhythm uneven. Marielle stared at me like she finally understood I wasn't coming here for closure. I was the closure. So, Bernard said again, slower this time, careful, what would it take to make things right? I leaned back, let the silence stretch long enough to make them squirm. Then, you don't fix this, because it's not broken anymore, it's just evolved. I stood up. No drama, no finale. Just a man who no longer owed them explanation. Thank you for the invitation, I said, but I've already arrived somewhere better. As I turned to leave, Zara stood too. Jaime, wait. I paused. I wasn't ready to see you. Before, she said, I am now. I looked at her for a long moment, and for once I didn't see power or posture or pedigree. I saw a woman trying to step outside her legacy, maybe for the first time. Then don't wait for someone to hand you a seat, Zara, I said gently. Build your own table. And I walked out, into the night, into the city that once ignored me, now listening closely, not out of revenge, out of resonance. You all had your opinions. You mocked what you didn't understand, dismissed what didn't fit your mold. You made me feel like a placeholder. And now that it's grown into something real, something bigger than all of you, you want a seat at the table. Marielle bristled. That's not fair. We didn't know how serious you were. Because you didn't care, I replied. You assumed I was a risk. Zara had to manage me. You looked at me like I was a liability. Zara lowered her gaze. Bernard tried again. Then tell us how to fix it. I met his eyes. You can't fix what you refuse to see. You can only acknowledge it and live with it. Silence. No one touched their wine. I didn't come here for an apology, I continued. I came to make something clear. They waited. I raised my glass of water. To those who get written off, excluded, mocked, may they always remember the power of staying quiet, working hard, and letting success do the talking. I drank slowly. No one else moved. The server returned with food, but it went untouched. Zara finally spoke, her voice soft. Do you hate me? I turned to her. No, I just stopped waiting for you to love me as I am. Her eyes flickered. She didn't cry, but something old between us cracked and finally quietly broke. Bernard stood adjusting his coat. We appreciate you coming. I rose too. I didn't come for appreciation. I came so you'd know where we stand. And where's that? Marielle asked. I smiled faintly. On opposite ends of the table. Then I walked out. The air outside was sharp and honest. I let it fill my lungs. Before stepping off the curb, leaving the dinner and everything it represented behind. The packages were delivered the same way their invitations used to arrive. Hand-delivered, elegantly wrapped, white satin ribbons tied just tight enough to imply sophistication. But inside, no gold-trimmed programs. No smiling family photos on yachts. Just a model of a tender boat, small, precise, hand-carved matte black. A replica of the one they boarded the day they were denied entry. Each box included a single typed line. Success isn't loud. It's not leased, and it's not handed down. It's earned. Thanks for the lesson. Bernard's arrived first, delivered to Hollingsworth Ventures. It sat unopened for 2 hours until his assistant asked, Sir, are you going to open that? He did. Eventually. I know because someone who used to serve me tea without eye contact, sent me a photo of his expression. Stunned. Small. He didn't throw it away. He placed it in his desk drawer. Marielle's was delivered to her condo. She lived alone now. Her influencer brand had withered after the yacht story went viral. No curated beach photos could save it. She posted a story with the boat, then deleted it. The caption read, Sometimes the seat you're given says more about who you are than the one you wanted. Trevor got his at a co-working space, still selling NFTs and sketchy crypto seminars, but quieter now, humbled. A week later, I got a text from an unknown number. Point taken. Zara's arrived last. Intentionally, not out of cruelty, just space. Her package was delivered to her therapist's office. Her assistant confirmed she'd been in weekly sessions since the incident. She opened it during one. She didn't speak for 5 minutes. That's how long it took her to realize she'd married a man she never truly knew, and watched him become someone she could no longer reach. But this wasn't about punishment. It was about permanence. Because legacy, real legacy, isn't brunch cruises and family crests. It's not the illusion of tradition wrapped in entitlement. It's not yachts once a year to pretend you're more than old money posturing as relevance. Legacy is built in silence, in rejection, in late nights when the only applause is the hum of your own determination. I built mine one pitch at a time, one no at a time, one small win after another, until they had no choice but to notice. 6 months after the yacht summit, I bought out Hollingsworth Ventures, quietly, through a joint acquisition firm, partnered with 2 of the cruise founders. The paperwork was layered, masked. Bernard didn't realize it was me until the final signature. He didn't argue, just shook my hand like a man who finally understood he'd lost a war he didn't even know he was in. The company was rebranded the next quarter. No more crest, no more nepotism, just a sleek, minimalist logo, JM Capital. The website launched the same day Zara's last sponsor announced they were cutting ties. Optics, they said. It always comes back to optics. Marielle left the city soon after, said she needed a break from East Coast culture. Trevor took a job as a community manager for a mid-tier app startup. Bernard retired, officially for philanthropy. Unofficially, he stopped showing up anywhere that mattered. And me? I bought a second yacht, not as a flex, not for show, for peace. But on some nights, I take out the tender boat instead, the real one, from that day. Small, steady. I keep it at a private dock, away from the sovereign vessel, enough room for a few guests, or none at all. When I need grounding, I go there. I sit at the edge, feet dangling over the water, and listen to the waves. And I remember what it felt like to be underestimated, laughed at, unseen. None of it. Broke me. It built me. Legacy, I've learned, isn't just what you leave behind. It's what you walk away from without looking back.